So today we will discuss chapter 6, part 1, metabolisms and energy. Okay. So what is metabolisms? So metabolisms refers to all chemical reaction of a cell or of organism. So metabolisms are all the chemical reaction inside the organism, whether inside the cells, inside the body. So all these chemical reactions will be known as metabolisms. So these metabolisms, okay, can be divided into two types. The first one is called the anabolisms. Anabolisms mean this is synthesis reaction. Okay, so this is also known as anabolic reaction. This is reactions that create bigger molecules from many smaller molecules. Like, for example, this one over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 smaller molecules. And then with additional energy over here, it will be synthesized into these molecules over here, bigger molecules. So all these molecules combine together to make bigger molecules. Like, for example, polymerizations, making polymers from monomer. Okay, so making bigger molecule from smaller molecules. This is what we call the anabolism or synthesis reaction. And these anabolisms always requires energy. Just like a building something, if we want to build something, we have to have energy in order to build a bigger molecules. So this energy will be entered or required for anabolism. This is the reason why this anabolism is also known as endergonic reaction. Ender mean enter, okay? Ergonic, which is energy. So energy enter into the reaction. So this is anabolisms. Just remember, ana mean synthesis. I've mentioned the class, okay? Anna is the wife of Bob the Builder. So anabolism means synthesis reaction. This is the reaction that builds bigger molecule from smaller molecules. There are many examples of these anabolisms. For example, okay, photosynthesis. And the name is telling you this is a synthesis reaction. Okay? And this reaction require energy is called photo, which is light. So the name of this reaction is actually telling you this is anabolism. This is endergonic reaction. This is a synthesis reaction where the energy, which is the light, is needed to synthesize glucose, to synthesize carbohydrate from the smaller molecules, which is water and the carbon dioxide. If you remember the formula of the photosynthesis, okay, so photosynthesis, which is anabolisms, okay, it starts with 6 carbon dioxide, which is from the air, and then 6 water, okay, mostly from the soil. It will be taken by the root, and then it will go to the leaf. And then we need the energy, which is the light, which is sunlight or photo. Okay, So with this light, with this energy from the light, these two smaller molecules, which is carbon dioxide and water, will be combined or converted into or synthesized into bigger molecule, which is carbohydrate, C6H12O6. And also it will produce gas is called oxygen. So if you see over here, the two smaller molecules over here are converted into bigger molecule over here is called the glucose. Okay, this is glucose. Now, if you see over here, the light enter into the reaction. Therefore, okay, the anabolisms require energy. Where the energy go? The energy will not lose from this reaction. It actually will be saved in this glucose. Therefore, this glucose is also known as the chemical, okay, chemical energy, or we can say this is food. Remember, food contains the chemical energy. So the energy actually will not going anywhere, but it will go or converted into different form from the light energy. It will be transformed into the chemical energy, which is food. So this is the anabolism. Another example is dehydration synthesis, which is this is the formations of polymer. Yeah, remember again, the polymer of carbohydrate is called the polysaccharide. It is made of many monosaccharides, and it's require dehydration synthesis, formation of proteins, the polymers, which is a proteins or polypeptide. It is made of many monomers of protein, which is the amino acids. And then also nucleic acid like DNA and RNA. This is a polymer. It is made of many monomers. It's called the nucleotides. Also fats, yeah, fats, butter, triglycerides. Yeah, this is a polymer, and they are made from many monomers. It's called the fatty acids and glycerol. So this is the dehydration synthesis. Another example is a DNA replication. So this DNA replication is making DNA, and remember DNA is made of many nucleotides. So nucleotides will be combined together to make a long chain of nucleic acid with double strand, with the double helix, is called a DNA. Also protein synthesis. This is made by the ribosome. And ribosome will combine many amino acids together. It will make a chain of long amino acid. It's called a polypeptide. If it is more than 50 amino acids, mostly it's called as proteins. So proteins are actually polypeptides. Okay, so this is the anabolism. The second type of metabolism or second type of reaction is called the catabolism. Okay, remember, if we have Anna, okay, wife of Bob, the builder, now we have cat. So cat, yeah, they usually destroy. So this catabolism means breakdown reaction or decomposition reaction or breakdown reaction. It is also known as the catabolic reaction. So this will be the opposite of anabolism. These reactions will break down bigger molecule over here into many smaller molecules. Okay, let's say this is polymer. With the hydrolysis, it will be converted into many monomer. And this reaction will always release the energy. This is the reason why this energy is called the exergonic. Okay, exer, which is exit, ergonic is energy. So energy is actually release or exit from the reaction. Okay, so catabolism, which is the composition reaction, will release energy. Anabolism, synthesis reaction, will require energy. Example of catabolisms are cellular respirations and hydrolysis. Cellular respiration, okay, this is happenings in mitochondria, okay, cellular respiration. It starts from bigger molecule, which is, it has a lot of energy in it, which is the glucose, C6H12O6, okay, and then with 6 oxygens, so this is the food, okay, and then with the oxygens, it will be converted into ATP, okay, plus 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 water. Okay, so this glucose over here, which is bigger molecule, is actually have energy on it. So this is a chemical energy. Okay, or we can also call this is food. Okay, so food is actually chemical energy. It will be converted into smaller molecule, which is carbon dioxide and water. Because this food have energy, then it will also release the energy is called the ATP. Okay, so this reaction will release energy is called the ATP. And again, this reaction happenings in the organelle is called the mitochondria. Okay, while this photosynthesis is happenings in the organelles called the chloroplast. This is only on plant and algae. For this reaction, the cellular respiration is happening in plant, animals, fungi, okay, protists, except the bacteria, because bacteria do not have mitochondria. Bacteria actually have the ability to make ATP with other process. They do not require mitochondria to produce the ATP, but bacteria can also make ATP without mitochondria. So if you take the microbiology, when the instructor talking about bacteria, maybe they will, or he will, or she will explains how bacteria actually get the ATP, how the bacteria make the ATP without mitochondria. Okay, so these are the metabolisms. Again, metabolisms is all chemical reaction inside the body, inside the organism. There are 2 types. Anabolism, which is synthesis reaction. It is always endergonic. Energy is needed. The second type of reaction or metabolism is called catabolism. This is a decomposition reaction, and it is releasing the energy. Therefore, it's called the exergonic. And you have several examples for these anabolisms and catabolisms. Now, every reaction always involving the energy. So there is always energy involved, always energy involved in every reaction, whether anabolism or catabolism. Remember, in the anabolisms, we need energy. In the catabolisms, okay, the reaction will release the energy. So energy is always involved in both reactions. Now, what is energy? Okay, energy defined as the ability to do work, ability to perform work. This is definitions of the energy. Mainly, there are 2 types of energy. The first one is called the potential energy, energy that is stored in the chemical form. Therefore, sometimes it is also known as chemical energy. We already have the example, for example, in the photosynthesis, the light energy will be stored as a potential energy as the food, which is the glucose. Another type of stored energy or potential energy are the fuel or gasoline. So gasoline or fuel is actually chemical. It has a lot of carbons in it, and that carbon store the energy. Coal, for example, we are in the coal country. Eastern Kentucky, we're in the coal country. Coal is actually a type of chemical energy, type of storage energy. Another thing like wood or log, they also have energy in it, in the form of their chemicals bonds. So this is the first type of energy. The second type of energy is called the kinetic energy. So kinetic means motion or movement. So this is energy that is used in motion or in movement. For examples, from food that we eat, then it will be converted into our kinetic energy, like, using the ATP, will be able to run, walk. Like in the car, for example, after we put the fuel, the gasoline, that stored energy in the gasoline can be used for car to move, to run, to race, and so on. So this the type of energy. Again, there are two types: potential energy, which is the energy stored in the chemical molecules. It is called the chemical energy. And the second one is called the kinetic energy, which is energy in motion, like the movement, the motion, the running, all everything that we use the ATP. For the car, they're going to use the fuels, the coal, for example, to move or to run. This is a kinetic energy. Look at this picture over here. So look at this. This is actually chemicals, right? This is chemical. A lot of carbons with hydrogens. So this is actually gasoline, the fuel. So fuel, contains a lot of carbon, and carbon can store a lot of energy on it. So this is the formula. This is the kind of the illustrations of the formula using the 3D dimensions. Like this is all the black one over here is a carbon, 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 and the white one is a hydrogen, etc. So this is the chemical bond. This is the chemical formula of fuel that actually store a lot of energy in it. And when this fuel or gasoline is used in this car, then the car will be able to run, will be able to race from the potential energy that is stored in the fuel or in the gasoline. So this is chemical, or potential energy. And then it's become kinetic energy over here. So you see that the energy can be converted or transformed from one form to another form, from the potential or chemical energy into the kinetic or motion energy. Now, the study that learned or study about the energy is called the bioenergetic. So bioenergetic is the study of energy, especially how or where the energy flowing. Just remember over here, when we talk about the energy, it is always say as a flow. So energy will not cycle. Energy just flow. Flow means they only go one direction. So this is flow, flow of energy. It will not cycle. So energy will never going back to the original source. Like for example, the main source of energy on the earth is the sunlight over here. You see the sunlight over here, and this energy, which is light energy, will be used by the chloroplast, plants, and algae to make a chemical energy. they can make into glucoses. So this is one line. Okay, from here, this glucose is become what we call the chemical energy, is going to the kinetic energy, which is used by us, in this case by these children, to move, become the kinetic energy. So from this kinetic energy, then it can be another type of energy, but it's never going back to the sunlight again. So energy will only go one way. Therefore, it's called the flow of the energy. Okay, so energy is flowing. Material is cycling. You know, the carbon, they are actually cycling. Cycling, hydrogen is cycling, water is cycling, you know, but energy, it is flowing. Okay, just remember that energy is flowing. It's only go one direction. There are two laws. There are two laws of energy flow, or it's called the thermodynamic laws. Thermodynamic law. And the first one, we can call the first thermodynamic law, it says that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So energy is actually already provided on Earth, especially is coming from the sunlight. So we cannot really create this energy. It is already provided. So it cannot be created, and also we cannot destroy that energy. It is go to on the Earth, and then the energy actually able to be transformed. It is cannot be created, but it can be transformed from one form to another form. As I mentioned before, from the light energy, it can be transformed into chemical energy. And then from the chemical energy, it can be transformed into kinetic energy. So the energy can be transformed, but it cannot be created or destroyed. The energy is always there. It's always flowing one direction. And then the second thermodynamic law say that the transformation of this energy, okay, the law number one, okay, will never 100% efficient. It means that there is always something lost from this conversion or from this transformation. Like for example here, when the kid eat the glucoses, the sugars over here, use it as the kinetic energy, it's not all of this chemical energy actually used as a movement. Some of them is become what we call heat loss. Okay, so the kid's body will be hot, and then also the hot or the heat that coming from their body will be radiated into the air. So it's not 100% efficient. Not all energy from this chemical energy, for example, will be used as a kinetic energy, as a movement energy. There are some that become lost. Maybe the easy example is when you put fuel, okay, in the car, and this fuel can be used to run the car. However, remember, when the car runs, it's not 100% this fuel will be used for running the car. Some of them become heat. You know, the engine is become very, very hot. This is the second law of the thermodynamic, which is the transformation of energy will not 100% efficient. Now, when we talk about the energy, especially metabolisms inside the cell, we have what we call the free energy, which is also known as a delta G. Okay, so this delta G is also known as the energy that is used or usable energy. Okay, so when we compare between the anabolic and catabolic reaction, we will see the difference in delta G in the free energy. Look at this one. For the catabolic reaction, which is the decomposition or exergonic reaction, the energy will be released. Okay, the delta G will always less than 0. Why? Because remember, it starts from bigger molecules. Let's say this is glucose. Okay, glucose. Yeah. When it is converted into product, in this case, it's become carbon dioxide and water. Okay, then what happened? This carbon dioxide and water actually will have less energy compared to the glucose, because glucose is a chemical energy. This is a storage energy, a lot of energy. And then the energy over here will be released. So this is actually the energy that will be released in the form of the ATP. And this is the one that will be used for our movement. So usually the catabolic reactions will be spontaneous. Because what? Because it starts from higher energy going down to the lower energy. Mostly it will just like we have a big boulder, okay, on the top of the hill. We just push it from the hill. What happened is just going down spontaneously to the valley. So this is just like doing that for the catabolic reaction. Mostly will be easy to perform because this is coming from higher energy to the lower energy. But look at the other one, which is the anabolic reaction. Anabolic reaction, which is the synthesis reaction. Look at this. It starts from smaller molecule, which is it has less energy. So it starts from carbon dioxide. Let's say this is photosynthesis, plus water. Okay. In order to make a product that which is glucose, that has chemical energy, that store the chemical energy, to make it higher energy over here, we require to add energy over here. So this over here is telling you there is an energy has to be added, required, in order to make these anabolisms go. So this, the delta G for this anabolic reaction will always higher than 0. It means that we require or need the energy in order to make a bigger molecule that carry extra energy from the smaller energy molecules that have lower energy. So this is how the energy involved in the reaction, whether anabolic reaction, anabolism, or catabolic reaction. Remember again, for the catabolic reaction or catabolisms, delta G will always lower than 0. It means that the energy will be released because it's going to be exergonic reaction. Okay, but for the anabolic reaction, anabolisms, energy will always be needed. Therefore, the delta G will always higher than 0. At the end, the result, the product will carry that energy with them. This is what we call the potential energy or chemical energy. I think that's all for this part 1. We will continue with part 2. Especially, we will talk about activation energy and the enzymes that is actually needed in our body in order to perform all chemical reactions, the metabolism, anabolism, and catabolism. I'll see you again later. Thank you.